All right, all right, all right. Hey, y'all, this is your coach, Nayyera, with the Heal on Purpose podcast, hosted by the Repair of the Black Family. I am super, super excited tonight. As you all know, we are striving to bring forth to you programs that matter. Okay. And so, as we get started and you all come in on this powerful podcast, I'm going to ask that you do a couple of things for me so that we can ensure that this message gets out to the masses. Number one, as you come into the podcast, we definitely want you to like and share the podcast. If you are on Facebook, if you are on YouTube, we're going to ask that you like and subscribe and tell someone else to tune into the program. And definitely, if you are listening via podcast streaming platforms, we ask that you download the podcast and leave us a review. I am Sister Nayyera, your coach. I am here to host this program tonight as we specialize in eradication of generational trauma, as we bring back the core values of the family, focusing in on mindset, mental health, providing alternative solutions for mental health, family, and business. Tonight, I'm super, super honored as we are going to have a discussion, a dialogue, a talk, enlightenment, you name it, we having it. And we're not just having it, we are having it with one of my brothers in the Nation of Islam, my good friend, and also, yeah, my flyer guy. Okay, I can say a whole bunch of things about this dear brother. He my flyer person. Y'all be seeing my flyers out there, they be banging. He does my flyers. In addition to that, he is a co-author in this book, Repair of the Black Family. And I'm going to go ahead and put his picture on the screen. My dear beloved Brother Lawrence Muhammad, who is a mental health professional, a global impact speaker, student in the ministry class of the Nation of Islam. We are going to talk about a solution to trauma in the Black community with a focus on mental health. Now, as he is one of the co-authors in this book, this beloved book, which you can actually go on my website and get this book, www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. You also can go on Amazon and get this book as well. He has a chapter in the book, chapter 4, Healing the Wounds Between Parents and Children. I'm sure that will play a part in this conversation tonight. And one of Brother Lawrence's favorite quotes is, "Nothing God created is mediocre. Excellence is demanded of you, and you must demand excellence of yourself," by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brother Lawrence also has a daughter, his beautiful daughter, Aaliyah, who is the apple of his eye. He attended the university in New Orleans and the University of Louisiana of Monroe, majoring in computer science. Brother Lawrence is also a spiritual physician, as called by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Gold Seal Dynetics Auditor, and he's certified in communications, which means he can teach you how to talk now, okay? He can teach you how to communicate. How about that? He loves motivating and helping others to see the best in themselves, being a teacher and an inspirational speaker. Brother Lawrence is well known for his work in the community, helping others with self improvement, emphasizing on mental health and promoting well being. And that is Brother Lawrence. And so I'm going to bring our dear brother up into the stage tonight. If y'all ready, go ahead and say ready, ready, ready in the comments. And we are going to bring him on to the program tonight. How you doing, Brother Lawrence?
I'm doing well. How are you, sis?
Hey, I'm blessed and highly favored, trying to keep up with you. You got it going on, brother. You got all this stuff going on around the world. Global impact speaker, helping people with their minds. Father, student in the ministry class, just everywhere.
I'm trying to be like you, sis.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. So my husband and I, we definitely are excited to be able to continue to work with you and do great things as we're striving to do the work of our Father as it relates to the resurrection, mental resurrection of our people, and providing, solutions,
Yes,
solutions,
ma'am.
solutions, solutions. And so tonight, I think we have a very timely topic, right? A very
Mhm.
needed topic. What you say about that, Brother Lawrence? Very
Yeah,
timely,
absolutely.
very needed. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So before we actually delve into it, I definitely want to just find out what you've been doing since we wrote this book back in 2022. Okay.
I
Right?
know, right?
2022. What have Brother Lawrence been up to?
Yeah, it's been a while actually since we did that, and basically the same thing. Just keep going in the community, still striving to deal with our people when it comes to mental health and therapy, but doing it in such a way as to make it not appear as such a taboo subject. You know, to make it something that is easy, is simple, and that is available and accessible to us. Because a lot of times we don't think that mental health is accessible to us as a people, so we won't reach out for it. And so we've been doing that, and of course, taking care of the apple of my eye, my daughter. You know, and
Yes, indeed.
yeah, that's my baby right there. You see, I smile every time I talk about it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, and it's nothing like being a daddy's girl, right? And
Yes.
since you said that, I do want to take this moment, and I wish I would have had a picture and put my daddy up, but that's okay. I'm here, so people know who he is. Today actually made 24 years, Brother Lawrence, that my father left. Today, today is the actual day, Memorial Day. So, what better timing when we talk about divine plan, divine intervention, divine, divinity, that God would have me right here, not even knowing this was like, I didn't realize that it was going to fall on this day that we will be talking about mental health with the focus
Man.
on the Black men. So that's how I know that his life is not in vain. And to be on it with you as a Black man, and to be in the book that is in honor of his life, I
Right.
truly know that his life is not in vain, and I'm serving in my divine purpose.
Hmm.
And as we talk about mental health, because I watched my daddy struggle, Brother Lawrence, for all of my life. And the realization, Brother Lawrence, is I didn't even know that he was struggling with his mental health
Yeah.
because it was so normal.
Hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Like, as I look back over times, and now that I'm educated, I know now that he was actually struggling with his mental health. My dad will be in a hospital, Brother Lawrence. Listen to this. And he was in mental health hospitals. I didn't know.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't know that he was actually, because it was a hospital within a hospital,
Exactly.
right? And so I can remember the times going to see my daddy and he having on that white gown, you know, and them taking him away, and how I felt, and was very sad. But when I go back and recall those memories in my mind, I could see how he was suffering internally, but he never expressed that he was actually dealing with his mental health. But
Yeah.
how did it show up? And I want to ask you a question as I tell my story. How did it show up? In drugs, in
Hmm.
alcohol, in abuse to my mom, in different ways. But the truth is, he was suffering in silence. So
Yeah.
as we jump into this communication and we talk about solutions, let's talk about, how people are suffering in silence and they don't even know that, they may be suffering from depression or anxiety because it's just so normal. What
Yeah.
would you
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's the thing. And in particular, so let's deal with it generally from the Black community's perspective. So when we're looking at it from the Black community's perspective, you look at our upbringing in this country, you look at the things that we've had to deal with over the years. And so when you're surrounded and your environment is low, when you go to the corner store, the people are hanging out, they're shooting dice, they're just talking, nobody's actually being productive and doing things. We think that this is just the way life is. This is how it's supposed to be, and this is normal. Yet at the same time, we can't really make ends meet. We
Mhm.
don't know how to deal with domestic relationships. And so when we have that type of stress on our minds, we tend to take it out on others, but at the same time, not being able to see something from another perspective, we think that that's all that there is. It's kind of
Mhm.
like never taking a trip out of the country and you think the entire world is like America, which it wouldn't be. And so now dealing with that from the general perspective of the Black community, but then taking on the perspective of Black men in particular, who has the responsibility of being a provider, being a maintainer, being a protector, but yet unable to do those things. That's an added stress on the mind of Black men, along with all of the other things just surviving in this world. So you have stress on top of stress that's added on top of stress. And that's all we see. So we think that that's normal. And so we don't really seek help for it because that's just the way it is. And you have to suck it up and be strong.
Absolutely. And sucking it up and being strong. In this dispensation of time where mental health is like it's the button word, right? So many people are discussing it, so many people are talking about it, that may be enlightened about it. But then there are certain areas of life, in the Black community where it's not talked about, right?
Yeah.
Because you said the key phrase, that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a family, and we do, and in particular, the man in the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do one bring up these conversations, when it's just the way it is? How do you begin to even approach that in a household where it may be, husband, wife, or just, significant others, but the children are involved in the everyday stress of the mother, the father, how do you begin to approach that level of conversation versus just, okay, that's just how he is, or that's just how she is, or they stressed out? How do we begin to approach these types of conversations?
Well, that's an excellent question. And the thing about it is, it's very difficult because if you're thinking that this is just the way life is and life is normal, I don't see a need to have this conversation, or I don't even know how to go about having this conversation. So the scripture says, how can they know except they have a teacher? And how can they have a teacher except one be sent? So yeah, there are times when we want to express ourselves, we see things are wrong, but we don't know how to go about it. And sometimes when we speak, we can speak in such a way that the other person take offense to it. And now there's an argument that's taking place in the home, all because we don't have the proper way of communicating, taking those thoughts that's in our mind, and being able to express it to another human being in a way that they will actually receive what I'm saying. So now the other person becomes offended, either one, and now there's an argument that proceeds. And so you never really get anything accomplished. So it's like there really has to be some type of intervention. And in that intervention, there's information that can be brought to get the two people or the entire family to start now looking at themselves, because we can never correct ourselves if we don't properly see ourselves. If I don't see myself in the wrong, there's no need for me to correct anything. So it's about, sometimes people actually look for things to help them out with sometimes. And if you're able to find those things, then it's about actually taking a critical inventory, not of my spouse, not of my children, but taking a critical inventory of myself. And when I can take that critical inventory of myself and start to work on myself, then eventually I can start bringing these things to my spouse. So that's a real delicate subject and question, but it's one that needs to be had in our community.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you said critical inventory, right?
Yes.
That means I got to look at myself and do some self-analysis and self-corrections.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, as I look at this, I need something to measure that by, because if that's just the way it is, I may be looking from a critical point from the always isness versus having something that I can look at and say, okay, compared to this, this is the goal. This is the aim of where I would like my ideal self, the best version of myself, or the ideal scene for my family. And for me, coming up in a household where a lot of domestic violence was prevalent, right? Because now that I know, right, of the mental stress upon my family. And my dad, he was in like a failed purpose. He always wanted to be a track star, right? So he was in a lot
Mm,
of pain. He had 27 surgeries throughout his whole life. He was addicted to pain medicine. So my ideal family was the Cosby Show.
mm,
I don't know about
yeah.
but I always had something that I could look up to and say, I want a family like that. And so in this time, just going back to the subject of mental health, and we brought up the communication, Brother Lawrence, I'm seeing as a study, I was just doing a study, it says 68% of families are destroyed
Hmm.
because of improper communication,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So again, as you're saying, look at have a critical analysis. Now,
Mhm.
looking at the Black community, looking at the family structure, and dealing with mental health and our children,
Mhm.
how does this poor communication affect the family, but in particular the children? Because from what I understand, Black men, you can't cry. Suck it up.
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
let's delve a little bit into that, and how does this stress on the family affect the children as a child, and then taking it up into adulthood,
Okay.
in particular with the Black man.
Yes. Yes. That's great. So I will preface it with this. I do see things getting better, and I don't want to paint a canvas of doom and gloom. So, in this day and time, we do see more Black men more involved with their families. More Black men are actually married to Black women. So we are making progress. And at the same time, there still is the stigma that as a man, you shouldn't be crying. Well, why not? You have tear ducts, that's what they're for. And crying is actually a release of pain. And so, but it's this stigma that you have to be so tough, you have to be so firm. So what happens is now I want to express myself, but I can't express myself. So I keep all of these emotions bottled up inside of me. And so sometimes if I was to tell my child to do something, they don't move immediately. All of that built up anger now is being taken out on the children, taken out on the mother, taken out on someone else that's in the home, all because I have these bottled up emotions. And in another way, not being able to properly communicate, because communication is not just one way. So even if I do say something, the other person may not be able to really comprehend what it is that I'm saying. And also, I may be wanting to say something, but my understanding and my vocabulary may not be adequate enough to
Mhm.
actually get across my thoughts. So,
Mhm.
therefore, there's automatic miscommunication, and that's where the decibels in the house goes up. We start fussing and fighting again, and it really is just a misunderstanding. So communication is vital in any relationship, in any family. And so now when the mother and the father are unable to communicate, the children see that, and so they think that this is the way that they are supposed to be in their relationships with their families. So now this is now passed down, and we say, well, my mother and father was like this, and so
Mhm.
this is just the way I am.
Yeah, we got to do some reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in the book Healing Wounds Between Parents and Children, as we talk about that, and before we move on, what is a process like? I got it in what you just said, but what can one do just to even get the idea that there needs to be some healing, especially as it relates to mental health? Because if it's just the way it is, mom and daddy got the stresses and y'all ain't got no bills.
Mm-hmm.
You come in the house, you eat, you do as you told, X, Y, and Z. A little bit different in this day and time. But how do we begin to mend that broken relationships between parents and children in 2025 when children got TVs, they got phones, they got
Mm-hmm.
AI, they got, we used to go outside, but they in their room on the computer. How do we begin to heal those relationships, that it will actually foster a healthy mental capacity between the parents and children?
Great question. So, one of the things that we as adults should understand is that children are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
They have needs, they have wants, they have feelings, they have emotions. And a lot of times, we as parents, we take on the mindset of, I'm the parent, and whatever I say goes, and you just should do it, no back talk, and don't question what I say. So now the children have all of these pent up emotions inside of them. So the way that we can do that as parents is observe your children, find out what it is that they are interested in, and show an interest in what they are interested in. And once we do that, you'll start to see that they will start to open up to us, because we are now showing an interest in something that they value. A lot of times we tell our children, oh, put that to the side. That's never going to benefit you. Why are you always on social media? Why are you doing this? You're trying to do that. But if we ask them, well, what is this that you're doing? Can you explain it to me? Why are you doing this? What do you get out of it? Now you're asking them questions, and now they're saying, hey, my mom and my dad, they're actually interested in me. And that now does something for the child. And now that bond starts to grow. And the more that we start communicating with our children like that, then the more conversations we're going to have. And then eventually we'll start to be able to have deeper conversations from that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Now, as you all are coming in and you may have questions, comments, please let us know how you are viewing this podcast, and we will actually go back, or while we're on here, we'll be able to answer any questions. We're talking about solutions to trauma in the Black community. And Brother Lawrence, I would like to ask you a specific question while kind of going into a circumstance. The question is, how do we identify trauma if that's just the way it is? Example, this literally happened for me yesterday. I'm on my own personal healing journey, so I get to reflect on life circumstances and view it in this time period where I am now, a better healed version of myself, but also look at how it affected me and make a new decision or have a different viewpoint, which will foster more healing. One of the things that came up for me yesterday, Brother Lawrence, is realizing when I had my first child, I had her by myself. My mom sent me to the hospital to have this child at 17 by myself. Okay. I didn't realize that that was trauma for me, because that's just the way it is. The second point is, as I look at my own birth story from what my mother told me, she was by herself. Okay. So she only did what was done to her. No blame on my mom, but I can only imagine, because as she tell my birth story, the labor part of it, it was very traumatic.
Yes.
She was thrown on the bed. She was screaming and yelling, and they like, you gonna lay down, you gonna have this baby. They tied her to the bed, right? That's my own birth story of, coming into the world. She feeling like she can't do it no more. Now that we have auditing, I understand why I used to say that and give up, right? But then as I was reflecting, it was just a reflection. Yeah. I had my own birth story with my first child, but I didn't realize that it was traumatic until yesterday, because I called my sister and I'm like, hey, not realizing, right? This is a cognition. Did mom go in the hospital with you? No, you was always there. Yeah. So we having a conversation. It's like, wow, not only do I need healing, my sisters need healing, and my mom needs healing, but the healing comes with understanding for me. Yeah. So now my question, redirecting this question, is, how do a person identify trauma if that's just the way it is, Brother Lawrence?
Yes. Yes. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about how can they know except they have a teacher, and how can they have a teacher except he be sent? So there has to be awareness. Now, if I'm the one going through the situation, I'm not really aware of any solutions on the outside of what I'm experiencing right now. So this is where the awareness from the outside comes in. This is why there has to be um, campaigns,
Mm,
especially in our community, to let our people know that this is not normal
correct.
and there is something that can be done about it. Because if
Correct.
all you've been seeing is the same thing, then the only thing you can compare it to is what you've already been seeing. So we must see proper, prosperous Black marriages. We
Come
must
on.
see proper male female relationships. So until we are actually able to see that, then we think that what we experience in the hood is normal, because most of us have never gotten out of the hood, never even went outside of our neighborhood. So therefore, we think that what's happening in our neighborhood is happening everywhere. But there's always someone somewhere that can come into the neighborhood and say, no, this is not normal, or here's a flyer for something, or here's some help that we can or give to you. So we now this is the thing. Us as a people, even though we see certain things that's going on as normal, but something on the inside of us tells us that it's not really normal. Something is not right. Sometimes we can't put our finger on it, even if it's just, why am I living like this? Why is my life like this? The mere fact that we are even questioning that shows that deep down on the inside, we know that life can be better. But it's just that sometimes where we live, we have not seen the opportunity
Mm,
to have a better life. And so
mm.
that's why those who are in the position to give help can't sit on their hands, can't sit behind closed doors. We must go out in the community, in the streets, and offer that help, because you never know who you're going to touch. That person who's been thinking that this is the normal life all the while, and all of a sudden they turn on the Cosby Show and they see that it's something brand new out there.
It's something brand new.
Exactly. So it's something brand new out there.
Absolutely. And this is where, as we're going to continue our conversation about solutions for the Black community,
Mm-hmm.
one of my primary solutions was the nation and is the Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the brotherhood, seeing the sisterhood, and actually becoming a part of that. But that was like unreal for me.
Yeah.
Like I would have never imagined, from the perspective of how I grew up, that this even existed. That you truly can see Black men in the homes and
Mm-hmm.
taking responsibility. Thank God
Mm-hmm.
for my daddy, because he loved. Let me just say that my daddy loved me. I got a letter on my wall right now to my big baby. Okay, so he took responsibility to the degree that he could take responsibility.
Yeah.
But to see a upstanding Black man in a suit
Mm-hmm.
and a bow tie,
Mm-hmm.
right? To see women in the homes, and my mom is a cook still
Yeah.
to this day. She got her
Yes,
own
she
catering
is.
business, baby. Okay. But at 7, I was cooking dinners. Okay, while mama was gone, and I'm in the kitchen frying chicken, you know.
Yeah.
So to see that, for families to come together and have dinners, that was something totally new for me. And I'm sure there's others like that as I
Mm-hmm.
tell my story, but it just goes to, we got to get out in the streets and promote healthy marriages. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say a strong family makes a strong nation. A
Yeah.
strong family makes strong communities.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing with the strength of a family, we have to address the mental health aspect of the family.
Yeah.
And so a
Absolutely.
question, yes, sir, a question that I have 4 different questions. So I don't know if they're gonna come in order. I'm just gonna put them how they
Okay.
came.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the first one. I hope it don't take us too far off, but here we go. Why should a man consider caring for his own individual self instead of masking it with work and other mechanisms?
Okay. Read it one more time.
Yes. Why should a man consider caring for his own individual self instead of masking it with work or other mechanisms, or I would say other ways that he may mask his mask things versus taking care of himself?
Yes.
So basically, why should a black man, a man in particular, but a black man specifically, involve himself in self-care? That's how I would word that.
Yes.
Why should he consider himself first?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you'll never get the full potential out of him if he doesn't. And as a woman, you'll never really get the full potential out of your man if he doesn't take care of his mental health. He won't be able to fully give himself to you. He'll always keep a piece away from you. There'll always be things that he just can't tell you. There'll be these moments of silence. There'll be these moments of separation because he doesn't feel that he can come to you and tell you certain things. So, and then at the same time, he'll pull away because he does not want to hurt you. And so for a man to take care of his mental health first is really a benefit to the sisters and to the family, because when you have a healed man, now you really have a protector, you really have a provider, and now you have a person now who is able to now give his all to you, all to the family. And so when a man is a healed man, you're no longer looking at a man, you're looking at a God.
Oh,
A man who can now have a vision and can take that thought or that idea that's in his mind and make it manifest and take you with him on that journey. But a man who has all of these things that's going on in his mind, he's depressed, he has PTSD, he doesn't know how he's going to be able to take care of his family and things of this nature. That's a man who can never give you his all because he doesn't have anything more to give.
He just pouring from an empty cup, Brother Lawrence. That's what I'm getting from this.
That's it, number air.
Wait, Brother Lawrence. So what you're saying is a man that's not taking time is not coming from the overflow or the abundance of the God of himself. Wow, that's
yeah. There's nothing. There's no overflow. There's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so the only thing when you can't have proper communication, proper talks, proper mindset, then what is left? There's nothing else left but hell. Now we have hell in our homes, hell in our relationships, and because there's nothing constructive there. So we should want that man to be stable, to be in his right mind, have his full awareness, because when he's in his right mind, then he sees the sister properly. And then he no longer handles her like she's just a piece of meat or she's this, that, or the other. He starts to handle her for the God that she is. See, so it's not when a man is healed, he's not just healed for himself. He's healed for you and his family and for all of humanity.
My God. So I'm going to go ahead, and for those of you that's listening, I want y'all to drop that comment because I think that's very vital. It's essential that we capture that as a comment. And Brother Lawrence, as you talk about a healed man, as we're looking at healed on purpose, you know, and you're talking about the family healing, in the healing is growth. Mm-hmm. In the healing, you know, it requires transparency. Which brings us to the next question. I don't know if I'm gonna go to the next question, then we'll go to what else I want to say. So the
Okay.
next question is, should men be vulnerable and or transparent in their relationship as it relates to their healing? Because you know
Hmm.
that toughness, and I could, this is a question. The question is, should men be vulnerable or transparent in relationships? Now, I want to put a pin with that, think with that. But I work with women all day, every day, Brother Lawrence. I'm a
Hmm.
coach. And when I work with women, in particular, or what we're going to bring up as a solution, most husbands, according to the women, because it's their story,
Hmm.
right? It's their story. It's always two sides of a
Yes.
story, but I'm just coming from what I experienced as a coach. Most men, according to their wives or mates, don't trust people or others to have valid therapy. They don't want to sit before somebody and talk about their problems. Therefore, if they don't want to do that, or they don't trust somebody, or they don't think they need it, that's not for them, can they truly be vulnerable and have a transparency in the relationship?
That's a loaded question.
All right.
So I will say it. So the question is, should a man be vulnerable?
And
Yes.
or transparent in relationships.
Yes. Should. Now, there's factors in that. What kind of wife are you? Are you supportive? Supportive? Will you talk about what he's telling you to someone else? Can he confide in you? You see, so it's not that he should just be transparent, it's can he be transparent?
Wait a minute.
Because most men want to be transparent with their significant other. So I would phrase it in this way. Yes, he should, and he should be able to be transparent. And when it comes to men, of course, yeah, we're like, yeah, I don't want to talk to my business to nobody. I don't want to express myself to anybody. That's just a stigma that we have to get over. But I believe that if we are around people that we can trust, then we would actually open up and confide. I've been in several settings where brothers have opened up and started talking and saying things. So sometimes, sisters, he may not talk to you first because he may think you are not able to what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to come to me. Relate to what
Mhm.
he's saying. But he knows that he can talk to a brother who may have gone through or is going through something similar. And before we got on this call, I was looking at something online, and there was a brother talking about his therapy. And he said, my barber is my therapist. See, so when brothers go to the barber shop, they have that ear. And the thing about the barber shop is that it's a no judgment zone. So when a brother is at a barber shop, he can say what's on his mind and he won't get judged for it. So, but if his wife is a loving wife and she's a caring wife, yes, absolutely. He should open up to her, be able to be vulnerable with her because she is, in fact, his rib. She's his protection. And if he can't confide in her, then who else can he confide in but God? So
Absolutely.
I would kind of deal with that question from that perspective. Maybe we can go a little deeper into it because that's a deep question.
That's a deep question. But two highlighted points you said, uh, is he able and can he? Those are
Yes.
very powerful things. And as we sit and we reflect on these questions, and we're talking about solutions to trauma in the black community, in the community, focusing on the black men, right?
Hmm.
And having misdirected anger, or you know, mis how I want to say, yeah, just misdirected or wrong, placing the blame on others versus being able to take responsibility. That takes another level of vulnerability to be able to accept the fact that, hell, can my husband come talk to me? Is
Hmm.
he able to, am I a safe place for him to talk to me? And then also both parties being able to cultivate the relationship where it becomes a no judgment zone, where it becomes a safe space to have that. And that takes grooming. Like, that is
Yeah.
not something we come into relationships just having all of the answers. I believe, as you said, in 2025 we've gotten better because we have more places where people are intentionally focusing in on healing, intentionally having these dialogues. But we don't just walk in with manuals in relationships,
No.
and we have these things where we have these safe conversations with our husband and wife without dealing with the business every day.
Hmm.
Okay, what's the bills, what's this, what's that, what's for dinner, this. We come in and everything is so routine, but we have to take that time out. I believe this is how we unburden the relationships. You have that day where it's just communication, it's just
Hmm.
talking about it, and more we would grow into that development, that yes, he can, and let's bring some balance, yes,
Hmm.
she can, right?
Yeah.
Yes, she can, because we're very emotional, and we want to be heard, and we want to talk, talk, talk. In a point in my relationship, my husband and I, we got to a point because he was that type of man where he want to go in a room and watch TV, and
Hmm.
I want to, right? I want to talk, and I'm like, he on overload. So we had to learn how to bring that balance in the relationship. So as we talk about mental health, and there's more questions here, but we're also identifying solutions for the
Hmm.
Black community, right?
Yes.
I'm grateful, and I know that you are as well. And you being a mental health professional, you being a gold cell auditor, which means you actually know how to listen to people and help them to solve their own problems. I'm grateful for this.
Uh-oh, what's that?
Okay. It's moderate, right? 75 years of, modern science for mental health, valid therapy, Dianetics. I'm grateful for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan introducing this modern science for mental health for the Nation of Islam, and truly for the Black community. It's an alternative solution. It's up to date now. Look, y'all, it's on audio book.
You
Look,
said, but
Brother Lawrence, I got some of these for you, and anybody that's listening to my show today that it really want to be a part of this, we can help you with getting these books. But now it's in a pocket size. Okay,
come on,
yeah.
come on.
And so as we look at this, the number one buttons in the community is anxiety, is depression, and we're having all of these relationship issues. The next question is, the next question that we have on here, and I want to ask a question about that is mental illness important to identify, and can mental illness be difficult to identify with, okay, with drinking, smoking, sex, TV, or any vice being used as pillows to cover it?
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, um, the whole world needs some mental therapy.
Period.
So, and this one of the things that we must understand is, what do we mean when we're talking about mental health?
Teach that.
So when we're talking about somebody getting therapy, it doesn't mean that a person is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, and especially in our community, when you start talking about you're seeing a therapist, oh, you crazy. And it doesn't mean that. It just means that there are certain traumas, there's things that has happened in our life and is happening in our lives that's causing us to not be able to make proper decisions. So
Teach.
when those things are removed from our minds, we are able to then see properly. Our awareness is heightened, and now we're able to make better choices, better decisions in life. So wherever there is anything that's clouding our thoughts, clouding our mind, clouding the way that we make decisions, that is valid for seeking therapy, because all you're doing is working through those roadblocks. And when you work through those roadblocks, now I'm able to see clearer. There are ways in which to do that that's beneficial to get those roadblocks out of the way, that you don't have to use drugs in order to do it. And so with the advent of Dianetics is able to help us to navigate the landmines, and not just navigate them, but get rid of the landmines, so that we can now see the world as it is, being able to intake information and make proper choices based on the information that we have. So don't look at mental health therapy as though a person is crazy or this, that, and the other. No, it just means we need a little help sorting things out so we can use our minds better to come to better conclusions.
Absolutely. With that being said, again, as you can tell, I do a lot of research on mental health, right?
Yes,
I was looking at this website this morning, and I don't have it with me, but I can come back and put it in the comments. But it said 1.1 million Black people, 39% of Black people in 2018 is suffering from mental issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Suffering. And being that is a stat, how has Dianetics helped you, right? How has Dianetics, right? Because I'm sure, let me know if I'm right or wrong. Have you gone through any depression? Have you gone through anxiety? Have you been a part of that stat of 1.1 million Black people have suffered with some type of mental issue? Are you a part of that stat, and what did you do to come through that process?
Yes. So absolutely, I was a part of that stat, and I hated myself. I hated being Black. I hated my complexion, because all the little light-skinned girls, I'm from New Orleans, so all the little light-skinned girls, they didn't want no dark brother, So I was like, man, what's wrong with me? But it was a lot of things. So yes, I felt in that I've been depressed. I've had anxiety and grief. I've had suicidal thoughts. I've had all of those things. Now, I'll tell you first, what helped me was the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because first of all, the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave me a proper view of myself, a view that I never knew even existed. I didn't even realize that I was important. I didn't even know that God loved me. And so just to have that small switch there, which is really a big switch, to know that God loves you, and not only loves you, but came for you, now that helps me to now be more confident in myself. And now I can start learning more about myself, knowing that the things that I thought about myself in the past were really not true. Those were thoughts from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
As you and I go, and as we progress, especially in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we grow spiritually. But in that spiritual growth, sometimes we can neglect mental growth. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
In that mental aspect, we can still fall victim to certain things, because we can't just be all spiritual and not mental as well. So they say that we are mind, body, and spirit, or mind, body, and soul. So we can't just take one and be all spiritual and neglect everything else about us. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan understands and understood that, and he found for us Dianetics, a science of the mind. And if you don't mind, I want to read something
Go ahead,
about
read it.
Dianetics, right?
Okay, go ahead and
I
read
love
that.
This is from the book. Can you see it? The
I can
Science
see
of
it. Science of
Survival,
Survival. Yes, yes. And we can
right?
get y'all these books if y'all have any questions or you want to get the books. You know, you definitely can go ahead and subscribe to the website at www.repairtheblackfamily.com. Let us know, and we will definitely get you these books. All right. The website is at the bottom of the screen, www.repairtheblackfamily.com, and send us a message stating that you want the book Dianetics or In Science of Survival, and we can help you get those books right away.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. I got you. Let's
Oh,
go.
okay. So look, first I want to give a definition of Dianetics
Okay.
because most of our people don't know anything about Dianetics, and
Correct.
what they have heard
Woo.
about Dianetics, it's something negative. And so
Correct.
if all I've been hearing is something negative, I'm not even going to take a peek into it to even find out what it is. But Dianetics is simple. According to Mr. Hubbard, he says Dianetics is a system for the analysis, control, and development of human thought, evolved from a set of coordinated axioms or principles, which also provide techniques for the treatment of a wide range of mental disorders and organic diseases. That's simply all it is. So when you deal with Dianetics, dia, talking about through, nous, the soul or the mind. So you're basically talking about what the mind is doing to the body and how it affects us. And so when we are able to look at the human mind or the human spirit, now we're able to correct a lot of things. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan introduced us to Dianetics, and Dianetics, the modern science of mental health. It is just that. It is the modern science of dealing with the human mind, with human behavior. And so when we are dealing with human behavior, you don't need drugs to deal with human behavior. It's a mindset. It's something that's going on in the mind, some traumas, some pain, some things that has happened to us that's like holding down a trigger or a key in our mind, and we keep repeating these same old patterns. Dianetics helps us to get to those events to release the trigger or the key to allow us to now go past those old patterns in our life. So
I
I've
just wanted
been
to put that book up there while you was
there.
saying that, brother.
Yes,
Brother
ma'am.
Lawrence. We need the book. We need the book up there. You know,
Yes.
because you said something so key because it's not widely known in the Black community. You
Yes.
know, and people think, oh, you know, I'm not gonna let them brainwash me, or they're taking mind control, and you know, it's
Mhm.
just so much false information as it relates to that thing that can possibly alleviate and eradicate generational curses,
Mhm.
generational traumas, right?
Yeah.
Generation repeating cycles. This I have found even in my own personal life,
Mhm.
you know, the ability to handle those behavior patterns that didn't even, that it wasn't all me, you know. So as you're looking at, you know, some of the things that you've gone through in your own personal life,
Mhm.
you know, there's
Yes.
a solution. Something can be done about it. I forgot to put this up on the screen, Brother Lawrence, but
Mhm.
since we're talking about solutions in the need, like really, is it a need for Dianetics? Look at this, Brother Lawrence. 70 of the 5 million Black Americans with a mental illness have been left untreated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
National
Yes.
suicide rate has increased 35% between 1999 and 2018.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rates of anxiety and depression sparked from 38 to 41% after the killing of George Floyd. That's 1.4 million people.
That's right. Absolutely. That's right.
And we're
And
talking
look,
about, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, I have a few statistics for you as well.
Go ahead. Let's give it to the people. Give it to the people because the people looking for solutions.
It says this: the statistics around mental health trauma in the African American community reveal significant disparities that warrant attention from both a clinical and systematic perspective. Mental health prevalence, according to SAMHSA, it's a mental health thing. It's a national survey did in 2018. 4.8 million, 16% of Blacks and African American people reported having a mental illness. 22.4% of those, which is 1.1 million, reported a serious mental illness. Particularly concerning is that in 2022, suicide was the third leading cause of death for Black or African Americans ages 10 to 24. Think about that. And it says more specifically, 9.1% of African American participants, 5% of men, and 12% of women suffered from lifetime PTSD. So all of these things have gone untreated, and we just walk through life suffering. But the thing is, we don't have to suffer because something can be done about it. And so the beauty of it is, and I can always thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for introducing us to this. You know, what man do you know, especially a religious leader, that will allow his entire congregation to go to another religion to get something and bring it back because he knew and he understood that there was something there that could help us, and not only just help us, but help the entire community. So sometimes we allow the chatter and the side talk to get in the way of our own healing and our own progress. So when you look at a man with a track record, such as Minister Farrakhan, why will we doubt and question a man with such a track record when he doesn't give us a reason to doubt him? So the intelligent thing to do is to at least say, well, let me check this out and see if there's something that can help me.
Absolutely. I mean, so what I'm hearing from you is it takes courage for healing.
Oh, yeah.
It takes courage. Like you got to go against the grain.
Yes.
To participate in your own healing, right? You got to really kind of like not even really go with the masses, because from what I understand, Brother Lawrence, this thing called healing, it's like a slogan out here. Everybody talking about it, right? And there's all kinds of trendy conversations surrounding healing.
Yes.
Got it. What I've come to experience with Dianetics in this form of valid therapy, it gets to the root cause of everything. You're not surface dwelling in your healing. And so we get to this thing that I learned in this book and helped thousands of people. And I know you've helped many. We get into the root cause, which is the reactive mind that is actually validated in scripture. Right? Because it says a double-minded man or woman is unstable in all of his, well, man, but we're going to say woman too.
That's right. That's right.
Unstable in all of his or her ways. That two minds we learned. You really can put a name to it now. Analytical mind and reactive mind. So I'm not going to get into too much technical terms, but what I'm saying is we react versus respond.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And because we are people that react and we haven't had the proper tools to respond, we still are suffering in silence. Things are going untreated. Things are going unknown, or we put ourselves in positions to continue on down a road that's actually not good for us. It's actually worse because now we end up with real life situations, but we're in the psych wards.
Yes.
We're in the
Yeah.
psychiatry industry because we are truly looking for help. So as you said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave an alternative route that's
Mhm.
effective. It works. It is a solution. It is a tool, but it takes courage.
Yeah.
And I would say that you got to get with people that look like you
Hmm.
to help you to understand it. So you need experts around you, people that
Hmm.
have actually gone. This is my viewpoint. People that have gone through it and they know about this thing. They and you're not like blindly walking into something and get a misunderstood, and now you blow the course of your own healing,
Hmm.
right? I've learned this, and I'm gonna close it out because I want you to close out. I've learned this in my life, Brother Lawrence, and I've learned this through coaching. Two
Hmm.
ways that you can handle anything in life. You can, one, learn by experience, keep doing the things that you're doing, trial and error, bumping your head, and get some results. Or you can get with those who've done what you want to do,
Yeah.
have the results that you want to have, right?
Hmm.
And get to a space where you want to be.
Yes.
I would like to take the latter. Why should I go and do all of the work when I see you, Brother Lawrence? You helping Black men heal. You've gone through the course. You've mastered this aspect of the technology. I see you get results, right? I
Yeah.
know that you know. Why wouldn't I send my son to you?
Mm.
Why wouldn't I refer my husband or my brother to one that have been through it? Not only have you done it by, okay, let me study the book, but you've gained benefits,
Praise the Lord.
right? So what I'm saying, as solutions in the Black community, you want to get with the experts, those who are doing what you desire to do. Most successful people are successful because they have mentors, coaches, teachers, spiritual advisors, and this is where we are as it relates to mental therapy.
Hmm.
You want
Yes.
somebody who's where you are and where you want to be. Am I? Let me know, Brother Lawrence, how's this resonate with you and maybe even with the audience?
No, yeah, you're absolutely correct. So let's go back to it takes courage. It definitely takes courage. And at some point, it takes for us to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know, because to follow the crowd is to continue to do the same thing because the crowd is sick as well. So if I continue to follow the crowd, I'm going to continue to be sick. So we have to come to a point in our lives where we throw our hands up and say, I want to change. So we have a study guide that was given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called Closing the Gap. And he talks about this thing called transition. He said, this is the most dangerous state of the human being. Change, growth, and transition.
Wow.
Change, growth, and transition. He said it's dangerous because the person is not where they were, but they're also not where God intended for them to be. They're in like a middle area. And it's a very sensitive area to be in because we can be swayed. So sometimes a person may seek counseling, seek therapy, and a friend, a family member, or someone else can now start saying, oh, you going over there doing this, that, and the other. You're going over there with them crazy people and this, that. So now he's pulled back into the world that he's trying to get out of. So it can be a dangerous time for change, growth, and transition. And so when we're looking at that and talking about the therapies, I just want to give a brief insight into Dianetics, because those who do know something about it think that the only thing that you do is sit down in a chair across from one another. But there are, as Mr. Hubbard says, there are 4 valid therapies,
That's
right?
right.
So I'll go over there very brief. I'll go over those 4 valid therapies. Check
Y'all
this out.
put that in the comments as y'all watching this. Put those 4 valid therapies in the comment section.
Put them in the comments. So the first one, of course, is Dianetic auditing or processing. But the second one, well, I will read this. Dianetic processing, he says, this rids the individual of the pain and painful emotion which aberrates his reason. This word aberrate means to be taken off course.
Mm-hmm.
So when you and I experience pain in our life, whether it's physical pain, whether it's emotional pain, it messes up the process of you and I being able to reason, to be able to think logically and come to right decisions and conclusions. So Dianetics auditing or processing helps us to be able to do that. But the second valid therapy is actually education. He says that this indoctrinates the individual with, check this out, with the culture in which he lives and gives him the skills of survival, better enabling him to survive. Education. Third is the changing of his environment into which one is less re-stimulative, is happier for him, and in which he can better survive. But check out this. This is interesting. This also includes nutrition. So the way you and I eat, the things we put into our bodies is a part of the change of environment. And lastly, this change of environment is regulating the amount of physical things that we can have. As a person, you know, there's this saying, live beyond or live within your means. So if a person has too much and they're unable to handle that, then it should be given less. If a person if they has less, but they have the capacity to have more, then we should give them more. So those are the 4 valid therapies. So it's not always just about sitting down in front of somebody and getting processing. Sometimes it's just a change of environment. It's like giving a kind word to somebody. It's going to a movie. It's taking a walk in the park. It's holding hands with your significant other. This can increase our what's called tone level and allow us to be able to live a happier life.
Absolutely. Wow. So as you all are listening, we're going to be closing this out, and we've gone a lot into the solution. You know, I want to provide something for the audience today. Y'all see these 3? It's going to come the way I had it earlier with this whole little thing on it. You get your 3, you get this audio book, right? You get the pocket size Dianetics book, you get the hard and soft copy, and it's a commemorative set. On behalf of the Repair of the Black Family, for anyone that's listening today and you really, really want this set so you can listen to it on audio. Come on now, Brother Lawrence. Audio.
That's right. Come on. Right?
And it defines the word for you. It's just a small donation today of $50.
Come on.
Now, this values at over $160. Okay.
All right.
But for anyone that I have enough supply, because I don't have a plethora.
Right.
However, I'm going to say maybe for the first, we'll just see. If you are interested, we're gonna give this set out tonight as a donation. With a donation of $50, you can have the whole entire set. Okay, you can listen for it and listen to it in the comfort of your own home. All you have to do is text this number and say Dianetics. You ready? 727-623-5555. Text 727-623-5555, and we are going to get you a set. And so, Brother Lawrence, as we are getting ready to close this out, and you have shared so much with us, Oh, wait, before we do that, I got to do the announcements because I'll be messing up with the announcements.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let me say this, and then we want Brother Lawrence to give the closing remarks. Okay. So we don't want to just identify a bunch of problems. We want you to know that the repair of the Black family, we do provide solutions. Okay. And a part of the solutions that we provide is we do have one-on-one coaching where you can get one-on-one coaching with Sister Naira, and we can dive a little bit deeper into what you need and want and tailor fit your program for you as it relates to your mindset, family, and business. So you can get one-on-one coaching. You can go to my website that's at the bottom of the screen, www.repair the Black family. Look into the coaching plans. We also have this leadership and development program where we're helping you with your personal development, family development, business development, team development, and more. And last but not least, yeah, look, y'all want to take advantage because we do have financing. Okay, so you can also, if you ain't got the money in your pocket, you can get it where it doesn't cost much. Okay.
Come on.
Last but not least, we got this right here. This is coming up, Brother Lawrence. Come on
Come
now, we're
on.
gonna put him in the room. We're gonna put him in a room where healing is going to take place. And in that, the Repair of the Black family is hosting Freedom Weekend right here in Clearwater, Florida, where we're going to discuss Dianetics will be one of the topics, right? So you can actually put yourself in a room at a spiritual retreat with Sister Naira and Brother David. We're going to have some of our keynote speakers from the Nation of Islam, also, which is Brother Nuri Muhammad, Sister Malika Muhammad. We also have Dalzino Briano, who is the founder of Garvey Nation, and so many other speakers.
Mhm.
Definitely want you to call 727-222-7830 and say, I want to be in the room. You get Brother Lawrence, listen to this as we close this out. You get 3 nights at a spiritual retreat, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leaving out on Monday. 5-star retreat in a luxury hotel.
Come
All
on.
right, a luxury resort.
That's
Okay.
right.
Now you get 3 meals a day, whether you eat them or not. Breakfast,
What?
lunch, and dinner. Five star. Everything 5-star. Okay. You're gonna have a bunch of seminars and global networking. Okay, at this spiritual retreat where healing is going to be in the room. Guess how much, Brother Lawrence?
How much?
Just guess what? Actually, to come in the building is free. So you could just sit in the room. You don't have to pay nothing, zero, low, right? But if you want to be, on the luxury side,
Yeah.
you want to be in the bed, in the room, and you
Sound
want
like
the
about
food.
$1,000 or something.
No. It's worth over that though.
Okay.
Right? Some people pay like $5,000 or $10,000. Go to some of these conferences
Yeah.
out here. It's $400 investment, and all you taking care of is your room and your food.
Come on.
Okay,
Can't
you're gonna
beat that.
be power packed. So if you want to be in the room, and I suggest that you want to be in the room, 727-222-7830. Now you can get in the room for free and eat at McDonald's, but I would suggest that you invest in yourself, or you can pay $100 and just pay for your food, and you don't have to stay at the place.
Mhm.
So with that, Brother Lawrence, we have talked about mental health in the Black community, solutions to trauma, with the focus on the Black man, because as Black women, we want a whole Black man, right? As we deal with our own traumas, we want to uplift and elevate that Black man. We want him to be able to, accept his own and be his righteous self, no matter what walk of life you come from. But with the focus on the Black man, what is the departing words that you would like to give to the audience in 3 things that a person can take from this conversation that can be applied in their everyday life, especially the Black man?
The first thing I would say would be my favorite quote that you read at the beginning. Nothing that God created is mediocre, right? What he created is excellence, and you should require excellence of yourself. So when you know and understand that you are not a mediocre creature, you were created in the image and the likeness of God, and you have the potential to manifest his characteristics and his qualities. I would also like to say that this is a journey of both men and women, and if you are married or in a relationship, it's a unifying thing, and it's a fight for the both of you. It shouldn't be individualistic, and especially if you are married, both should be working on themselves while helping one another. I think that's a good way to say it. Working on myself or ourselves while helping one another. And I just wanted to say this briefly as well, because there's maybe some who may be a little skeptical about Dianetics or going to the Church of Scientology or something like that. But I just wanted to give you a little bit, because when you deal with Dianetics, overall, it's raising the human being's abilities to be able to perform. It's tapping in to your soul, tapping into your spirit, and allowing that spirit to soar. Now, in religious tradition, that's called resurrection, right? So I don't want us to think that this is something different. It is the same, as just the terminology that we use. So I want to read something very briefly from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Let's go for it.
He says, because I always like to leave on
That's
May.
right.
He says this: each one of these study guides is designed on the guidance of Allah God to produce self-examination, self-analysis, self-correction, and to quicken in each of us the self-accusing spirit. For it is only when we are awakened morally that we have to face the self-accusing spirit, which leads to our resurrection. So the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad awakens the spirit in the human being. It gives you and I moral direction. It gives us something, a standard to look at. And Dianetics helps us along with that resurrection process, because Dianetics now takes away all of the pain, all of the emotional pain, all of the trauma that you and I have gone through, and increases the ability of the human being. And now the spirit can soar, and you can take advantage of everything now. So you won't just be a one-dimensional human being. You'll be a human being that's spiritually awakened, but at the same time is able to go out in the world and produce. And so when we are able to go out in the world and produce from a wide awakened human being, then now we are able to affect our homes, affect our block, affect our community, and eventually affect the whole planet. So that's how I would leave that.
Period. And I just got to say, Brother Lawrence, I'm a product of that.
Oh, praise.
I'm a product of both sides of this, okay?
Yes,
I have been a faithful, devoted servant and soldier of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. And I took on through his guidance, but my obedience, I got this technology. I've used technology in my personal life. I was able to get to that point where I removed those painful emotional experiences and got to that level of sanity where I can now say that I'm clear of that. I achieved that state of clear. Get the book. You're going to find out all what that means, right? So the person that you describe, I have not only obtained that, but I'm getting bigger and better. Thank God.
That's right. That's right.
And not just for myself, Brother Lawrence. I'm now able, where I once didn't trust women, where I once didn't care for women. Come on now. I once didn't really, I had problems with my husband. I could go on and on, right? But I just want to testify, Brother Lawrence, because you just hit me with the Holy Spirit. I could truly say, through obedience, thank God, encouraged, thank God. Right. Yes, and I was able to be a product of both sides of what it looks like to be a free Black woman.
Come on.
Yeah, free up those emotional, breaking them agreements with hell, Brother Lawrence.
That's right.
Being effective with using something that's very precise that I can get to the root cause of my problems. And like I said, when things come up, I'm now aware to say, let me reflect on this. I don't go at the effect no more. Come on now. I get to look and solve my own problems. That's the power of Dianetics. Yes. And so as a Muslim, I could truly say I could do that, and I've done that. But Brother Lawrence, for the last and final question, it might be some people that say, I'm not Muslim. Okay, I don't need nothing but Jesus. I can't do that. What would you say to that person? Right?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked that question.
That's it. I don't need those. I'm good. I got side. I don't need one. I don't want no side. I don't want no down there. I don't want none of that. Because all I need is my man. My man.
That's right. And you are absolutely correct. You do need your man. What it says in the scripture, it says, "This be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind." Well, what's giving us all the problems that we have? It's the way we think. It's our mind. Minister Farrakhan said this one time. He said, especially in the Black community, you go to the church and pastors teaching hard, and you see mostly sisters, they do what they call catch the Holy Ghost. The minister asked the question, he said, what happened in that moment? He said, the pastor touched on something, but he did not remove it. So pastor was hitting some pain that you might be going through, but pastor did not remove the pain. So when he said something and that organ hit at the same time, all of a sudden you were now triggered, stimulated, and you said, whoa. But when you left church, that pain was still there. That trauma was still there. And so we have to have a renewal of our mind. So the scripture says, let this mind be in you, the same that was in Christ Jesus. Well, what mind was in Christ Jesus? That's the mind of God. So if the mind of God is in Jesus the Christ, then we should want that mind so that we can do as he did. We can think as he did. Think like God thinks. How does God think? God thinks rationally. God does not allow his emotions to cloud his judgment and his reasoning. God has emotions, but he does not make his decisions based on emotions. He makes his decisions from a rational point of view, and then he allows his emotions to come behind that in order to carry out whatever it is that he judged. So that's the mind that we should want to have, and that's the mind of Jesus Christ. And that's what I just read from Minister Farrakhan on the resurrection of the human being, the resurrection of the mind to be into the mind of God. And we talked about in Dianetics to help you and I get rid of the pain, the physical pain, the emotional pain, the trauma, and increase the ability of the human being. It all goes hand in hand. So it doesn't make a difference if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Buddhist, it doesn't make a difference. This doesn't have anything to do with your religious persuasion. The only thing this has to do with is getting our minds right.
All right. Get out your own way. No more self-sabotage.
That's right.
No more deliberately destroying yourself, aware or unaware. Let's go ahead and get the book, family. If you want this set, it's a small donation, right? For $50, you're going to get all 3 books. Look, you can walk around and be, sitting in your car, reading your book.
That's right.
Small donation of $50 is not covering the books. Trust me, this is over $160 value. Okay. So we want you to have the books. We don't want you to have a misunderstood. Get the book for yourself. As we get ready to close out, again, I just want to say this right here, June 20th through the 23rd, we are going to have a powerful weekend with one of our keynote speakers, Brother Nuri Muhammad, the survival of the Black family. We are going to address your mindset, your family, and your business. We're going to put you in a space where you can help to further your development for spiritual freedom, mental freedom, and yes, financial freedom. You want to be in the room. Call 727-222-7830 and say, I want to be in the room with the repair of the Black family. Spiritual retreat. Women, we all need a sacred space for us to come together and heal on purpose. Sister Nayera, with our Leadership and Empowerment Academy, we have that sacred space. We have a members only club, members only space. So go to my website, www.repair of the Black family, and let's heal on purpose. That's all I want to say, Brother Lawrence. I'm going to go ahead and pull you in the background as we close out. Brother Lawrence, I want to thank you again. People should be able to reach you. Y'all can't look. Y'all got to get with Brother Lawrence on social media. Brother Lawrence, go ahead and shout it out for the podcast because everybody can't see on Facebook. How can the people reach you for more information in regards to what you do and how you do it?
Yeah, they can just reach me on Facebook. I'm Lawrence Muhammad. I'm very simple, brother. Just reach me on social media on Facebook at Lawrence Muhammad. I just wanted to say this too, Sis Nayera, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Because there's somebody that's in the chat.
Oh, I can't see it over here, Brother Lawrence. Answer them questions.
No, it's not questions. It's just somebody I wanted to acknowledge.
Okay.
And it's my brother, Brother David Almaraz. If anybody is on the West Coast, if you're in the LA area, please go and see him at the Church of Scientology. Our brother he's an auditor and he's a dynamic auditor. And he helped me so much when we were training at Flag. And I mean, every day you see him, he had this spirit, just a beautiful spirit. He's a beautiful human being. So if you're in that area, please go and see my brother.
All right, go holler at our brother over there on the West Coast. Tell him to drop his information in the comments. So if anybody on the West Coast, they can go ahead and see him. And look, y'all, we can't be afraid to go get knowledge, right? Wherever knowledge, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, wherever truth is, that's where you belong. So fear will restrict you. So one of the things it's going to take to get this type of healing, avail yourself to this type of healing and feeling, yes, you have to be able to remove fear. I know in the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan called for 10,000 fearless. I just want to be one in that number when the saints go marching in. He's going to turn us loose on the world, and I just want sanity. This whole programming process is to promote more sanity. And so as Brother Lawrence is one of the co-founders in this book, y'all get the book and read his chapter. This brother has a lot to offer. For those of you that want to know more about Dianetics, don't forget to hit up the Repair the Black family. Brother Lawrence, I'm going to pull you in the back, and I want to thank you so very much for always being a good brother. You're a part of the Repair the Black family, and keep my flyers looking good. Peace. Hold on, Brother Lawrence. Okay, y'all. So y'all heard it right here on this podcast. Y'all was able to get what we had going on, and I want to thank you all today for tuning in as we get ready to close out. May God continue to bless each and every one of us to heal on purpose. Remove the fear and tap into your blessings. Repair the Black family is here to serve you. Peace.